Business blueprint or analytical assessment. Those are the primary topics for today. B2, A2. Business blueprints focus more on the financial organization or the EPM solutions, and the analytical assessment is focused on more of the BI solutions. But the guiding principles are about the same. And the goal is to come up with a plan and come up with an execution plan and then execute on it. And so what we want to do is think big, start small, and then scale quickly. All right? And it's really what we're trying to do is we're going through the forest, we're finding the right trees, finding the trees through the forest. Okay? And it all starts with having the right team. Okay? The right team means it's not a technologist, it's not a pure technologist, and it's not a pure management consulting. It's a combination of the two. It's the combination of having management consulting or the business processes, and it's the folks that understand the technology and able to convert the business requirements and processes into a system platform of either EPM solution or BI solution or a combination of both. Okay, so the right team is extremely important. The other pieces, as we go through the business requirements, the business blueprint or the analytical assessment, it's composed of gathering the requirements, understanding the goals of the sponsors and of the organization, how we're going to get there, and understanding the gaps and how we're going to get there. So we start with our executive sponsor, okay, and the executive sponsor helps us set the direction. And then it goes through several levels of interviews, questionnaires, requirements gathering around both the functional side, the business, which is about 75% of the effort, and the technical side. The technical side, there's two pieces. The actual data services, data integration, data quality, master data management, and also the infrastructure. The infrastructure, making sure the sizing is correct, etc. Okay? But the primary focus is how are we going to manage our business? How do we grow our top line? How do we grow our bottom line? How are we going to expand? And it's also about, the business blueprint hits pretty much the entire organization. So it's not just a finance team, but it goes across finance, sales, marketing, operations. And you start breaking down silos across the entire organization. So if somebody asks for a sales number, and if you're in sales, you're going to pull one number. If you're in finance, you're going to pull a different number. You can spend the whole meeting figuring out who's got the right numbers. In the meantime, you've kind of, somebody goes off, figures out what the numbers are, then you come back to the meetings. Unfortunately, you've lost the moment. We're all busy and we move too quickly. So what this does is helps align everybody and it helps set direction. And as we go through the business blueprint, one of the things that happens is we get a list of requirements, okay? And we need a proper way to prioritize them. We've come up with this matrix of prioritizing. It's a 4-quadrant matrix. And we hit all the items that are low effort, high value first, okay? We hit everything that's high value, high effort second, everything that's low value, low effort third, and everything else we try to defer because there's no value to doing it, very low in value. So we come up with a prescribed approach of prioritizing what we do first and what gets on the roadmap. And the roadmap may change, but this is how we start, and again, making sure we have proper alignment to the executive organization. We also focus a lot on managing risk. Risk is how we become successful on projects from both sides, from the team side, from the consulting side, from the client sides, and also from the software side. And there's 4 primary risks we want to make sure we align. Number 1 is data. You don't have a system unless you have the right data, okay? And there's a lot of risks to making sure that the data ties out, that we have credibility around the data, so data is a big component. Number 2, resources. We all have full-time jobs, and to be honest with you, although we have a lot of projects that we run where the project is part-time for the organization. And as long as we, from a consulting side, we'll get it done. We'll always get it done. The question is, do you have the right buy-in? Are you going to have the right change management? Do you have all the right pieces in place that we need to make sure that the project is successful, not that the system is built, etc. The next one is scope creep. And scope creep is very important because as we prioritize our long list of items that we define in the business blueprint, it's very easy to say, let's just do one more, one more, one more. Next thing you know, we're not doing an iterative approach of think big, start small, and then scale quickly. You all of a sudden start developing something too big, okay? And so that doesn't help anybody. And the last one is decision, the lack of being able to make decisions. And the lack of decision making puts projects at stops, halts, etc. Okay, and so we have a risk mitigation strategy for each one of these items. And of course, there's other risks that come up, but overall, these are the 4 primary risks that happen in just about every project. So for risk mitigation, we always have steering committees that we try to set up, and those steering committees help drive decisions that either the consultants or the project team or the project management or the leadership team is not able to make. It gets escalated through the process. Each one of these risks, we have some risk mitigation strategies that we've come up with and developed that help drive success for everybody in this project. So that's a big component that gets covered in the business blueprint. The business blueprint covers, from a function feature perspective, touches all the areas of consolidation systems like currency, allocations, top-down journal entries, eliminations, minority ownerships, etc. From a planning perspective, it also touches most of the areas around sales and revenue planning, expense and cost center planning, capital planning, headcount planning, etc. So the business blueprint takes anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, depending on the length of the the size of the organization, depending on the depth that we go into with the business requirements. And so it takes about 8 to 10 weeks, sometimes 6, sometimes 12. So that's kind of the timeline. The other piece that's important is you've got a list of prescribed outputs, process maps, okay, of the future state. You get the data mapping matrices. You get the detailed project plans. You get the roadmap. So it's a very detailed process. It's a very prescribed process, and we find it very successful and helps the success of our projects that occur. So from a high level, those are some high points from a business blueprint, and thank you for taking time to listen.